Good afternoon, everyone. Good. Group 1, I had taken company law paper for you all, right? Group 2, I'll be taking ECL paper. If we end difference in the paper, company law was very, very heavy. That is the main subject for you all for which CS profession itself exists. Correct? ECL is more of general and commercial laws. Company law was more about understanding. ECL is more about understanding the concept, remembering the things and writing. ECL is much more shallow if you are able to understand what I am trying to say. Company law na ore sub rule le or depth irke edike or form irke edike or exceptions irke and the madri. But ECL is not like that. It is much more shallow, rombo deep illa, right? You just have to stick to the course material and mostly 70% is direct questions. Alright, so ECL is comparatively easier. How is your ECILP paper split into? It has the commercial laws is your 60 marks, correct? And intellectual property is your, this 40 marks is very, very scoring. Okay, this 40 marks is good, it is very scoring. Till the last batch, this 40 marks was taken by Anuja ma'am actually. But for this batch, I will be taking this 40 marks. Okay. This 60 marks, few chapters are really interesting. You will love studying those chapters, and few chapters are very dry. Okay. So those chapters we just have to survive to get the pass mark. Understand the content, remember the concepts, and do writing practice to get the marks. But some of the chapters are actually very, very interesting, from where even case studies are coming. Case studies and case laws will be there. You will find it interesting also. It will be useful for our daily life also. Alright. This one is again, what is intellectual property? Trademark, patents, copyrights, this all things, right? It's a very, very upcoming field. In your professional also, you can choose this paper as a selective papers are there. No, in that you can choose this paper also, and this is having a great opportunity in the future also, right? Most of the people need people who are having expertise in intellectual property rights, right? So now in this 60 marks, we have a lot of chapters. 3 chapters have been omitted. Do you all know that? If you have old books, 3 chapters have been omitted. Remember company law last lay? Inspection inquiry chapter was omitted. Compromise arrangement was omitted to a huge extent. Right? And one more chapter was omitted. Which one? CSR also was omitted. So in ECL also similarly, chapter 4 has been omitted. What is that chapter 4? It is no longer there. Then one more chapter is your chapter 9 and 10. What is chapter 9? Fugitive economic offenders. That chapter also has been omitted. Then chapter 10 is Benami. This chapter is also omitted. Okay. Anyone who has a new book? Anyone who does not have these chapters in their book? All of you have the old book, that means, right? I think new one has not been printed itself, that means. Okay. So these chapters are no longer there in your course. Today we will start from chapter 12. What is chapter 12? Consumer Protection Act 2019. I am sure all of you would have heard about this act. How many of you have not heard about this act ever? Anyone? Yes or no? All of you have heard. Where have you heard about this act? TV advertisement? Movies, TV advertisement. Anything else? Real life? Have you tried anyone in real life? No? Okay. Alright. What is a consumer? Person who is buying the goods. Okay. Anything else? Are you a consumer? You paid fees, right? All of you paid fees and entered this classroom, right? Why did you pay fees? Am I giving any product to you? I'm giving a service. So you're buying service from me and you're paying me money, fees, right? Are you a consumer? Yes, you are consumer in this case. Okay. Now say for example, you paid the fees for which course? CS Executive Group 2. Okay, or a combo offer you would have taken, whatever, CS Executive. Okay, you have paid the fees. Now I tell you, no, today I am not in the mood to teach CS Executive Group 2. I will teach you CMA. From now on, I will teach you for CMA course only. Do you think it's right or wrong?
So,
it's wrong, right? Can you complain against this? You can complain against this, right? Because you are a consumer. But now, before Consumer Protection Act 2019, what is this act name about? Consumer Protection Act. So, whom are we trying to protect over here? Are you trying to protect the shopkeeper or the person who's giving the service or the manufacturer? No, we are trying to protect the consumer. So, this act is Consumer Protection Act 2019. Means in 2019 ke munnadi we were not protecting the consumers. We were protecting, no? What was that act name? Consumer Protection Act. It was 1986. Alright. Before Consumer Protection Act 2019, we had Consumer Protection Act 1986. Okay. Now the 1986 Act has been repealed. All of you know this word repealed. For people who are studying the first time for CS Executive, few words I will keep on explaining to you. Repealed basically means that act is no longer valid, and instead of that, it has been replaced with a new act. Okay. So Consumer Protection Act 1986 has been repealed, and now we have a new act which is called Consumer Protection Act 2019. Okay. Now why was it done? When I taught you Companies Act, we discussed, no? Companies Act 1956, then Companies Act 2013. Why? Here also, before we study any act, we have to understand why the new act. Why do you think Consumer Protection Act 2019 Act came? Why 1986 repealed and then 2019? Any reasons? Fines and penalties, okay. But 1986 and 2019, not a huge difference between fines and penalties. We could have simply amended the act also and increased the fines and penalties, right? Companies Act was very vast. So every section they had fines and penalties, correct? Here it is not such a huge act. It is one chapter that we are studying, right? So not exactly fines and penalties. The reason was something bigger. Think about it. Think that you are a consumer. I am 1986 born, okay. Think I am a consumer in the 80s and early 90s, okay. What would have been my attitude, what I would have wanted, and now you are the consumers in this, now we all are consumers in this 2019 to 25 era. What changed? As a consumer, what changed? The way of buying changed. Absolutely right. The way of buying changed. What changed in the way of buying? How are we buying things now? Am I right? Online transactions became huge. Now everyone is buying via e-commerce. Correct? Amazon, Flipkart, Swiggy, Zomato, Myntra, Meesho, banking transactions, everything has become now online. 1986 Act did not cover this. In 1986 Act, as a consumer, if we were buying things online, we were not protected. It did not have enough provisions to protect us. So one of the major reasons for this was digital buying. Okay, you can name it whatever, digital buying, e-commerce, whatever you can name it as. But basically the online transactions increased. Okay. Another thing, the supply chains became very complex. Please put your phones on silent. Supply chains became very complex. What do you mean by supply chains? Now we were not just buying. Before, if I needed a packet of biscuit or chips or thumbs up or any grocery, I would go to my nearest shop. Whatever brand he is keeping, I will buy that. Correct? Before and all, ask your elder brothers or your parents or uncles, 80s and early 90s, what biscuit they were buying mostly. I think Parle G was there. Chips, we had Uncle Chips. I still remember. We had only one option, Uncle Chips, or maybe one or two local brands was there. So our things that we bought were very, very limited. Nowadays, the supply has become global. Nowadays, from global, all countries, we are getting the products. So the supply chain is much more complex. Correct? That is one reason also why we needed a better Consumer Protection Act. So consumers are also now fast, and we needed a much more stricter and fast act to protect the consumers. That is the reason of Consumer Protection Act 2019. Okay. Next thing, I'll tell you a few stories first. Okay. Okay. One more thing, one more big change, which especially I'm telling to all of you people, what you will feel from company law classes and ECL classes is you will feel ECL class, ma'am is only talking only. Because ECL class is all about stories. It is all about stories. So whatever stories I am telling you, don't think I'm simply yapping. It is actually connected to the content. It is connected to understanding it. So mostly you will hear more of talking than taking down notes. Companies Act was more about taking down the notes. ECL is more about listening to the stories and understanding why this has happened. Okay. So now, how many of you know that Maggie was banned in 2015ish something? Yeah, all of you remember that stage? Maggie got banned, correct? Why was it banned? More MSG content can cause cancer, this, that, all that things was there. So Maggie was literally banned. Nestle, all of you know Maggie is manufactured by Nestle. Nestle or marketed by Nestle. The Nestle shares also had taken a big beating. The share prices of Nestle had really come down. Why was this done? How do you think Consumer Protection Act is involved in this? It affects the health of the consumers. Do you know there was a case put up against, have you heard of Amitabh Bachchan? Amitabh Bachchan, do you all know? Heard of him? Okay. Preeti Zinta, she owns the IPL team, so I think you might be knowing, right? Madhuri Dixit? Okay. There was a case lodged against these actors and actresses in 2015ish. Why was this done? Because they were doing the advertisements for Maggie and promoting it as healthy. Do you remember there was a time in which Maggie was being promoted as healthy? Wheat Maggie, healthy, add vegetables, it's very healthy. That way it was being marketed. After this MSG issue of Maggie, they had put up there was this guy, I think one lawyer only, he had put up a case against all these people for misleading advertisements and promoting the wrong product. See, technically, what we will think, problem is with the company only. No, company is only giving the script to the actor. They are reading what they have been told to do. But then also, Consumer Protection Act covers that also. Even influencers. Right now, it is not about TV ads. Right now, it is about influencers. Right, influencer marketing. Consumer Protection Act covers that also. If any influencer is promoting any product in its stories, reels, and they have a huge fan following, and it is a wrong, misleading act, for example, Fair and Lovely thing, all this fairness creams, whatever you are promoting, you can put up a case against those people as under Consumer Protection Act. So even influencers and TV stars or celebrities who are endorsing wrong products. What is wrong products, ma'am? Anything which they are claiming is healthy but which is not healthy. Any financial product, mutual funds, put your money over here, double it, put your money in crypto, your money will triple. This all is misleading. Okay, this all adds, if you are doing, you can get a case against consumer protection. Okay, I'll show you about this. In 2015, megastar Amitabh Bachchan was the brand ambassador who faced legal action and public scrutiny when noodles were having high levels of lead and MSG. Okay, issue was it was more than 7 times the limit allowed. There was legal action. They filed an FIR against Amitabh, Madhuri, and Preeti Zinta. Primary case was against Nestle India, the manufacturer, because of unfair trade practice, and for they all were under misleading advertisements, right? So what I wanted to make you understand was even brand ambassadors can be sued against under the Consumer Protection Act. Okay. So now you don't have chapter 4, chapter 12. Okay. Do you think this act is applicable in Jammu and Kashmir also? What do you think? Do you think this act is applicable in Jammu and Kashmir also? Yes or no? Yes or no சொல்லுங்க. Correct. Now it is applicable. Before, no, all the acts had a thing. This act is applicable all over India except. Correct. Then there was this act passed, which was Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act. All right. So under that Reorganization Act, they told that from all the acts, wherever it is mentioned except Jammu and Kashmir, it will stand removed. So that means all the acts now is applicable also on Jammu and Kashmir. Why I am specifically telling you people Jammu and Kashmir for this act, I will show you the reason. 2019, there was this Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act. Okay, just a quick one. How do you think an act is passed? This is not for you people. It is for you both. How do you think an act is passed? First, there is a bill. Okay, committee sits. There is a bill which is passed. Where does the bill go next? Before that, Parliament. You told, right? Parliament, where it goes in Parliament? Two houses are there in Parliament. Which two houses? So first, the bill is made, and then that bill goes to Lok Sabha. Once it is passed in Lok Sabha, it goes to. After it is passed in Rajya Sabha, very good. It goes to President, where the President signs it. When does it become? When does the act come into force? It is published in the official gazette. Official gazette is like a government newspaper kind of a thing, where once the government notifies it, public comes to know that now this is the act. Okay, so this is that paper. Can you see this? What is written over here? The Gazette of India. So this is your official gazette. Once they publish it over here, the act comes into force. The following Act of Parliament received the assent of President on 9th August 2019. What is this Act? Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act. Over here, if you see, this list. In this Schedule 5 lay, there is all this name of the acts. Can you see this name of the act? Arbitration Conciliation Act, provision to subsection 2 of subsection 1 shall be omitted. Can you see this? Benami transaction, except the state of Jammu and Kashmir shall be omitted. Like that, they mentioned all the acts and then they mentioned that this except state of Jammu and Kashmir will be omitted. That means all the acts will now get applicable in Jammu and Kashmir also. Why I am specifically discussing about this act? Because check over here. What is this mentioned? Consumer Protection Act. So they have told in Jammu and Kashmir Act that Consumer Protection Act 1986 say except Jammu and Kashmir will be removed. But now we are under which act? 2019. Then will 2019 be applicable or not applicable? Why? Huh? Official Gazette they have mentioned that 1986 will be applicable. But 2019 will be applicable or not applicable is not mentioned. Then what do we do? Are you able to understand what is happening? We are telling 1986 Act we have removed except Jammu and Kashmir. So 1986 Act is applicable. But now we have come up with 2019 Act. That is not mentioned in this, no? That 2019 Act it will become applicable. Then what to do? I'll show you 2019 Act ke thing now. You have to understand all the small things as a CS. Okay, that why it is like this. Common sense, you will say, yeah, ma'am, it will be applicable. No, now 2019. But why it is like that? That things you have to understand. So this is your Consumer Protection Act 2019. This Consumer Protection Act 2019, can you see over here? Where it is written, no, the Consumer Protection Act 2019. What is this known as? Title, correct. Title ke munnadi one more word is there. It's a short title or long title? It's a short title. So Consumer Protection Act 2019 is known as short title. Okay. What is mentioned? An act provide for protection of the interest of consumer and for the said purpose to establish authorities for timely and effective administration and settlement of consumer disputes. So what is the intention of the act? Protect the consumers, establish authority who will administer everything and will settle the disputes, and even advisory bodies will be set up. This is known as the long title. Okay, the top thing is short title, the down definition is the long title. Now the problem is this, read the subsection 2. This both act came together actually. Are you able to understand this? After 2019, all the acts it extends to the whole of India. Except Jammu and Kashmir is not there after 2019. Correct? But in 2019, these two things happened simultaneously. Jammu and Kashmir reorganization, where they told that all this acts it will be repealed. But in that they mentioned Consumer Protection 1986. But 2019 Act was passed, and in that it is mentioned except. Now what you will do? Read this. Lastly, they have something. Read this. The Consumer Protection Act 1986 is hereby repealed. Adhe kya pro? Notwithstanding such repeal, anything done or any action taken or purported to have been done or taken under the Act hereby repealed shall, in so far as it is not inconsistent with provisions of Act, be deemed to have been done under the corresponding provisions of this Act. The mention of particular matters in subsection 2 shall not be held in prejudice to the general application of the General Clauses Act. So now, since they are saying that the Act is repealed, so automatically we will assume that 2019 is coming into the picture. So that same provisions will carry on to the Jammu and Kashmir also. This is the reason why in all the acts they always repeal the previous act. Repeal basically means that is no longer valid. Is this okay? Is this okay? So you have the basic understanding of Consumer Protection Act 2019. What is this act? Protecting the consumers, correct? Protecting consumers, setting up authorities who will administer the, administer that the act is being carried out properly, and advisory committee for this act, that all thing is under Consumer Protection Act. Alright. Now why from 86 to 2019? Mainly because of online e-commerce, complex global supply chains. These are the reasons. Okay. Now let's see this. There is a lot of products and services, global supply chains, international trade, and e-commerce. These are the reasons we needed 2019 Act. It was passed on the Lok Sabha on 30th of July, Rajya Sabha on 6th of August, President signed on 9th of August. You don't have to remember the dates, I hope you know that. This is simply for understanding. So this is all about your Consumer Protection Act introduction. Okay, no need to read the other things. Whatever I have marked for introduction is enough. Okay. Now come to the most important definitions. There are many definitions given in Consumer Protection Act 2019, but I am only going to teach you the definition which is there in your study material. That is more than enough. Okay. So what is complainant and what is complaint? All these definitions are important. You should know this very well. First, let's understand about complaint. What is complaint? What do you think is complaint? You're not happy with something, you will complain. Correct? Say, for example, you bought an iPhone and within 3 days it stopped working. You will go and complain. Correct? You took a service, you paid fees for that, and they did not do the service properly or take the classes, or medical service was not given properly. So you will make a complaint. Now, how the complaint will be done? Complaint is basically what? Any allegation in writing. Made by whom? Made by the complainant. We will understand after some time who is a complainant. For obtaining any relief provided by or under this act. Okay. One complaint is what we normally keep on talking. Whether it is not good, this is not nice, that is not there. We are not talking about that complaint here. This is much more formal, much more official. First of all, this complaint is always in writing. And it is an allegation. All of you know what is an allegation, right? What is an allegation? What do you mean by allegation? Any allegation. What is an allegation? You can say that in Tamil, you can say that in the most simplest of English words possible. You can give an example. I'm good with everything.
Initiating dispute on someone, the facts mainly, like what are the things they did wrong. That is allegations. Like if I'm saying that this is not proper, so I'm making allegations on that person.
Okay. So basically, whenever there is a fight between two people, be it anyone, husband, wife, friends, family, whatever, you always blame each other. Correct? That is basically an allegation. Allegation is when we are saying you did not do this properly. Supposing you have paid fees over here, right? And then you are coming to study. You want to make a complaint against us, you will put an allegation that they did not take the classes properly. They did not finish the syllabus properly. I'll put an allegation back on someone from whom I bought a product. Say I bought this water bottle. I'll say when I came, when I bought this, they told me this water will hold 4 hours. It will be hot, the water over here. But this water is not being hot. It is an allegation which I am giving on the manufacturer or the shopkeeper. Okay, so that is what is an allegation, something, a blame which we are saying about the product or the service. Okay, and that allegation has to be in what form? Written format. So it should be in writing. Second thing, who is going to make that allegation? Complainant. Only complainant can make that allegation. If you are not happy with what I am teaching over here, complainant, we will understand who all is complainant. Only they can make the allegation. Someone else randomly cannot come and make the allegation. Okay, so it can be made only by complainant. Next thing, why are you making that allegation? What is your intention? You want relief. What type of relief you want? Whatever relief is possible under this act. What kind of relief might be possible? Refund might be possible. Replacement of product may be possible. So whatever relief is possible under this act, I am wanting that relief only. Okay. So if you are not happy with the service, you go, you make a complaint, and you are the complainant, you make a complaint in writing, and then the act asks you, okay, what relief you want? I came and told. It's not like that. Then it is not a complaint. Complaint is when you want relief. Is that clear? Are you able to completely understand what is a complaint? So these three things have to be important. Now, obtaining relief under this act, that number one, an unfair contract or unfair trade practice or a restrictive trade practice has been adopted by any trader or service provider. We'll understand these words also later. If you have entered into any unfair contract, any wrong trade practice you have done, unfair trade practice has a lot of definitions. We'll understand that later. Next, goods bought by him or agreed to be bought by him is suffering from any defects. Good is equal to defect and service is equal to deficiency. You should always remember this. Good is equal to defect, service is equal to deficiency. You will never tell that I took services in Shilpis Academy and that service is done a defective. You have to say there was deficiency in their services. Okay. Trader or service provider, as the case may be, has charged for the goods or service mentioned in the complaint or a price in excess of the price. So I put up a pen over here in the showcase and I say that this is for 9,900 rupees, includes GST. Alright. I have displayed this price in my showroom. Now only one pen is left. So a customer came, I need this pen. And I'm thinking only last pen is there. So I told no, I'll not sell this for 9,900. The price is 15,000 rupees now. It is basically, you can put up a complaint against that because I am charging you a price which is more than the price which is displayed or fixed on the price list or fixed by any law. So any MRP, if I'm charging more than MRP, or on a shop, in a shop, one dress is displayed and 5,000 tag is put on that. Other if I'm charging more price, that all can be going under complaint. Is that okay? So this is all about price. Next is goods, which is what? Hazardous to life and safety when used or being offered for sale to the public. Trader also knows that they are unsafe. So whenever you try to sell any hazardous goods, it is coming. You can put up a complaint against that. Services which are hazardous or likely to be hazardous to life and safety of the public when used, and who knows it to be injurious to life and safety. So the same thing, this is basically for goods and service separately they have given. This is about hazardous. For example, I sold you a glass tea flask and I know that if you pour hot tea in that, it will burst into pieces. After that also, if I sell it to you, I am selling you a hazardous good, which I know is hazardous. Any service which I am giving you, I am doing adventure games and I am not taking proper precaution for protection, right? Any that all bungee jumping and all that sports are there, right? And I don't take proper precaution. It is what? It is a hazardous service and it can cause injury. Claim for the product liability action against product manufacturer, seller or service provider, as the case may be. So we can actually put in case against manufacturer, against seller or the service provider. Is that okay? What is a complaint? Okay. Sometimes you get direct questions like this. Define complaint under Consumer Protection Act 2019. ECLA, sometimes you will get direct questions also. Okay. Next is who can complain now? Complaint dana okay. Complainant. Who can become a complainant? Number one person who can be a complainant is of course consumer. Or voluntary consumer association which is registered under any law. Sometimes what happens, so consumers are not very educated, they're very poor people, they don't know how to go ahead and get involved in all these things. So there are many consumer associations also which are there who helps to such consumers to put up their complaint. So even, for example, you are the consumer in Shilpis Academy, you are directly not able to put up a complaint, you can go to a voluntary consumer association and they can file the complaint on your behalf. So they can also be a complainant. Alright. Next is CG or CGSG can also put up a complaint. They are also coming under the category of complainant. Next is your any central authority. We will study about these central authorities. Any basically governmental authority, they can also put up complaints. Next, one or more consumers where there are numerous consumers having the same interest. Basically, say all of you are unhappy. All of you took CS executive classes, but I taught you CMA inter classes. So all of you are unhappy. So one or more consumers, you can all come together because you have the same interest. And you people can also be called as a complainant in a together format. Next, if the consumer has died, then one shopkeeper sold a pressure cooker, which pressure cooker was not proper. The pressure cooker blasted the first moment of use, and the person who was using it died. Now, that person is not the consumer, so who can put up a complaint? Legal heir or legal representative. And if the consumer is a, then his parent or legal guardian. Okay. So if my son buys something, his son buys some electronic item which is not working properly, it is defective. Definitely, the product, I will not put the complaint in his name. The complaint will be made on behalf of the minor by the parent or the legal guardian. So now do you understand who all are complainants? These are very, very important. You should know each and every sentence in this. Okay. Sometimes they will ask who is the complainant under Consumer Protection Act in your exam, and sometimes they will pick up from one line and ask a question. So you should know that this person is also a complainant. Okay. So quickly tell me who all are complainants. Consumer, Voluntary Consumer Association, CGST, Central Authority, one or more persons. So numerous people are there. Joint application under Madri. Next, death lay, legal heir, legal rep, minor case lay. All right. This you should remember. The Voluntary Consumer Association who will put up a complaint should be registered. Alright. If they give you a question, a case study based, an unregistered voluntary consumer association has put up a complaint. Can that be accepted as a complainant or not? No. So this kind of questions can also be asked. So you should be careful about these words. Okay. How will you make the complaint? Complaint will be filed before DC, SC or NC. It depends upon the value of the product and complaint. If it is small, we will study about that later. If it is small, you will go to district commission. Bigger, state commission. Very big, national commission. So these three commissions entertain complaints. Of course, there will be a fee which you can put up in DD in favor of the commissions. What else will you need to give? Name, description and address of the complainant, then name, description, address of the opposite party, what is the facts, where it happened, when it happened, and any documents. Okay. So you bought a product, you will put up a complaint, so you will give your name, your address, your description, right? Your son of so and so, daughter of so and so. This is what you do, and the your description. Then you will give the description of the shopkeeper or the manufacturer to against whoever you are complaining. You will give their description. You will give the facts. I bought this product from here. I came home and I used it. That time it blasted. So when it happened, where it happened? It happened after buying within 1 week on so and so date. Where it happened in my home, it happened. Any documents which you have to support the allegation. Maybe some pictures which you took after the blast, or the bill receipt copy which shows that you bought this product from here. This all has to be given for the complaint. Clear? Simple this is? Yes or no? Now mark this very, very important. This entire thing is very important. Why is it very important? Because we are going to understand in this who is a consumer. Okay. See, consumer definition has three definitions. In separate chapters, it has separate definition. So for Consumer Protection Act, consumer has a separate definition. Under competition law, consumer has a separate definition. Okay. So consumer means any who person. Do you know who can be a person? Is it always an individual? No, it can be a HUF also. It can be a firm also. They are all persons. Okay. So consumer is any person who buys any goods. For that good, either you have paid a consideration. All of you know what is consideration? What is a consideration? Something in return. Consideration can be anything actually, but something in return. I bought the good from you and I should have paid some consideration. That consideration would have been paid, promised, partly paid, or partly promised, or under any system of deferred payments, which is basically EMI. Alright. Say for example, today I bought a pressure cooker from you, and I told that I know your shop, so I told I'm taking this cooker. I'll pay you the today. I did not get the money. I'll pay you the money tomorrow. All right. Today I went and used the cooker. It blasted. Am I a consumer? Yes, because I had promised to pay the money. The shopkeeper cannot say that I am not responsible. I did not get any money itself for the cooker, but I had promised to pay, right? So either it is paid or promised or partly paid. Instead of 2,000 rupees, I gave 1,000 rupees and I told the next 1,000 I'll give you next day. Or I swiped my credit card, or I did some EMI system that every month, okay, I will pay. Mobiles and all we buy on EMI, right? So we are consumers, right? It's not like only when the amount is paid we are consumer. It is under EMI also I am a consumer. Is that absolutely clear? Alright. Then but does not include what? Very, very important this is. Does not include person who has obtained such goods for resale or any under Competition Act. Even if you get something for resale, you are still a consumer. But under Consumer Protection Act, you have to be the final buyer. If you're buying some goods for selling it or commercial purpose, you will not be covered under Consumer Protection Act. For example, I am buying the cookers from a wholesaler and I have a small shop in which I display all kinds of items. In that, I am selling the pressure cooker. Can I go under Consumer Protection Act? No, I cannot go. But does it mean that I will not be protected? I will be protected, but under a separate act. Consumer Protection Act is only for final consumers because they are trying to focus on speedy justice. So that is why we don't want to involve people who are coming under resale and commercial transactions. Are you able to understand this part? Sorry? Consumer protection is not covering land and property actually. Okay. You are planning to stay in that, right? You buying it for your own use only, no? So you can go, but generally for commercial, for properties and all, generally we go under RERA Act. Mostly all the Shobha Realty, all the promoters are registered under RERA. Okay, we study RERA Act also. So that time mostly the complaints are made under RERA. Consumer protection is done mostly for any goods or services. Land is there, but generally we will not be including it. Later on, I will teach you also what is goods. Okay, we have the definition of goods also. So this part, does it make, I mean, is it clear for all of you? If you are doing anything commercial or reselling with that good, you will not be covered under Consumer Protection Act. Only when you are the final consumer, you will be covered under Consumer Protection Act. Alright. Next is your, first was for goods, the next is for service. So if you are hiring or availing of any service, same thing, consideration ke. Paid, promised, partly promised, EMI system, etc. One second, just underline this also. Includes any user. For goods, it is user. For goods, it is user. And for service, it is beneficiary. Does not include commercial purpose. Now, what does this mean? Okay, so you people are hiring or availing the services, right? Technically, your parents are hiring or availing this service, right? Am I right? But who's the beneficiary of that service? You people. So, what they are saying is that either you are hiring or availing the service, and it includes, means consumer includes beneficiaries also. So, even you can make a complaint on against that thing because you are the beneficiary of that service. Say, for example, I buy a good for my son. He is, say, 19 years old. Okay. So I buy a good for my son. Who is buying the good? I am buying the good. I am paying the consideration. But who is the user of that good? My son is the user of that good. Can my son also be called as a consumer? Yes, he is a consumer. So because he is called as a consumer, he can also make a complaint. Because complainant can be a consumer. So either someone who's buying the good or someone who's using the good. Rendu per dana consumer. Someone who's hiring the service or someone who's the beneficiary of that service. Rendu per dana consumer. Is this absolutely okay? But it does not include people who are doing it for resale or any commercial transaction. And the consideration has to be there. Very, very important. You go to Lulu Mall, okay? There they are giving some free goods, free samples. You got that free sample. You did not like that sample. Can you go under Consumer Protection Act? No, because there is no consideration. Neither was it paid, neither was it promised, neither is it under EMI. So remember this also. Anything which comes free is not, you are not a consumer under Consumer Protection Act. Commercial purpose does not include a person by, this is also important, please mark it important. Commercial purpose which does not include use by a person of goods bought and used by him exclusively for the purpose of earning his livelihood by means of self-employment. Buys goods hire service includes offline, online transaction, tele-shopping, direct selling, MLM, everything is included. You are buying courses from Shilpis Academy app, correct? Are you a consumer? Yes, you are a consumer. Okay, you can buy it online, you can buy it offline, you can use the service online, then also you are called as a consumer. Okay, now I bought this laptop, I bought this system. Okay, I am using, technically you can say, ma'am, you're using this for commercial purpose only. No, you're not using this system for your personal use. You're using the system to teach us, which is what? Commercial purpose. Then you will not be a consumer under Consumer Protection Act. No, it's not like that. If I'm using something, maybe for commercial purpose, but it is basically like a self-employment to earn my livelihood. I am teaching using this system. I am earning my livelihood from the system. Then also I will be called a consumer only. Say for example, I have I'm running a tailor shop. You have seen small tailor shops. One sewing machine will be there, which the master tailor is using himself. It is his shop, and he has put some 3-4 more machines. Some 2-3 more helpers are there who are operating that machines. Correct? So he has kept someone to operate that machine. Then also he will be called as a consumer because it is a source of livelihood. Okay. I buy 100 computers and I put it as a cyber cafe. I am not a consumer. I put up a huge factory in which 100 and 200 machines are there. I am not covered under Consumer Protection Act. We will understand this from a few examples. Okay. So commercially, if you are doing anything commercial purpose, but if it is for your own livelihood, small scale self-employment madri it is includes, you can be called as a consumer. Is that okay? Yes or no? Who is a person? You can read this yourself. Individual, firm, HUF, cooperative society, AOP, etc. We'll go through this 4 case studies, and then we'll take a break, okay? Read this first paragraph. Purchase of goods can be said to be for commercial purpose only if the goods have been purchased for what? Profit making activity on a large scale. And there is close and direct nexus. What do you mean by close and direct nexus? Close and direct connection between purchase of goods and profit making activity. Is that okay? This first case is very interesting. This first case is Coimbatore based company. Read this. Lakshmi Engineering Works versus Supreme Court held that the explanation is factory in nature. Whether purpose for which a person has bought the goods is a commercial purpose is a question of fact, and it will be decided on facts and circumstances of each case. If commercial use is by the purchaser himself for the purpose of earning his livelihood by self-employment, then also he is a consumer. Supreme Court observed that if the person purchased a machine to operate it himself, he is a consumer. If he took assistance of 1 or 2 person also, he is still a consumer. But if he purchases and appoints another person exclusively to operate that machine, then he is not a consumer. Are you able to understand these things? I am using the machine myself. For commercial purpose also, I am a consumer. I have some 1 or 2, 5 people also to assist me in doing things. I am still a consumer. But I have bought a lot of it and I have appointed people exclusively that you manage this only. Then I am no longer a consumer. This actually will be your homework. Please go through the facts of this case. Put it on Google, you'll get it. Okay. Lakshmi Engineering Works versus PSG Industrial Institute. It's a Coimbatore based case, so I want you to go through this. There was a lot of sewing machines which they had bought, and then it did not operate properly or something. And some case was there. This case you will get questions. Read this. What is this next case? Bhupendra Jung Bahadur Guna versus Regional Manager. This case was coming under which body? So it was a big case. Held that a tractor, all of you know tractor? Tractor which was purchased primarily to till the land. You all know tractor, what does it do? It tills the land, that taking out the soil and all that. No, that all is known as tilling the land. For that only tractor he had bought. Who had bought? Bhupendra Jung Bahadur had bought. Why had he bought that tractor? To till his land. Purchased to till the land of the purchaser, and it is let out on hire during idle time to till the land of others would not amount to commercial use. Means he is known as a consumer only. He was basically a farmer. Okay. So he bought a tractor for his own farmlands. Alright. He bought. Now you all know that farming is seasonal. Correct? Say for example, I'm not sure, say for example, he was growing wheat. Okay. So wheat dana, he needs the tractor from say Jan to March, and then he needs the tractor from August to October. So 7-8 months he is using the tractor. This April, May, June, November, December, he is not having use of the tractor. So what will he do with that tractor? Someone near him is growing some other crop and he needs it in those months. So what he will do? Let it on hire. I am not using this tractor for this month. Your field requires the tractor. You use this tractor per day. This much is the charges. You give it to me. Will this amount to commercial use? The court held it will not amount to commercial use. Because primarily, why did you buy the tractor? For own use. Because this month I am not having use Dana, I have let it out to someone else. So then also I will be called as a consumer. Any doubt? Sure? Why is he laughing? Ask no if you have any doubt. Amma, rent. Correct. And the person can the monthly use it. So he gave the tractor on rent to that person. Amma. Hired it basically. He gave it on rent. He did not sell it or something. He gave it on rent. Because you are not using now, you let it on hire. You let someone else hire it. Amma. That depends. Daily basis you are given on hire, monthly basis you are given on hire. It depends on that. Say for example, I am using this iPad from morning till evening. Okay. Ninga sonna ma'am, in night time I need this iPad. Can I take it? Say okay, pay me 100 rupees for per night, and you can take this iPad and bring it back. This is what? Why did I buy this iPad? For my use. Correct? Like night time the classes use na, I am giving it to you. And the time you are giving me money. That is what is the connection. So court told, the tractor company would have told that he has used it for commercial purpose. Because he is not the final consumer. So he will not come under Consumer Protection Act. But court held that no. He bought the tractor for his own use. Tractor free he has given it out for hire. That does not mean it is commercial use. He still be called as a consumer. Is it okay? Huh? Understood? Huh? Sure. The question as to whether the widow of the deceased policy holder was a consumer. This is also important. The question as to whether the widow of the deceased policy holder was a consumer was decided in the affirmative, means yes, in the case of A. Narsamma versus LIC. It held that consumer includes any other than the person who hires the service. Widow is the beneficiary entitled to compensated for the loss suffered by her due to negligence of the there was this guy called A. Narsamma's husband actually. He would have died, correct? So who took the services from the LIC? The husband took. He died. Now the wife has put up a case against LIC that she did not get the benefits of that policy. So what LIC is saying is that she cannot make a complaint because she is not the person who availed of the services. She did not take the services, but she is a beneficiary of the services. So as a beneficiary of the services, she can put up a complaint and LIC has to compensate. Alright? Is that okay? Same thing what I told you for you people, no? Services have been hired off by your parents, but you are the beneficiary of the services. So even you can put up a complaint. Next case is your Lakshmi Ben Lakshmi Chand Shah versus Saker Ben Kanji Chandan. The Supreme Court held that the tenant who entered into a lease agreement with the landlord cannot be considered as a consumer where there was no provision in the lease agreement in respect of cleaning, repairing and maintaining the building. The rent paid by the tenant is not consideration for availing these services and no question of deficiency in service. You take a flat for rent. Okay. Why are you paying rent? According to the rental agreement, it is to use that place. The landlord is not responsible for cleaning, basic repairs or maintaining the building. So, the tenant cannot say that I am going to complain against the landlord as a consumer because there is deficiency in his service. This landlord and tenant relationship is not a relationship where the landlord is providing some service. Landlord's service only is use this flat. He did not say that he will provide any services like cleaning, maintaining ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ. Apro you cannot go against on in a consumer code for this service. Is this clear? Is this clear for all? So you cannot say deficiency in service when it is a landlord-tenant relationship. It is something like, see, you have taken services for studying this course. Okay. Now, say for example, you come and tell me, ma'am, make a timetable for my studies, know how to study. Okay. And I don't do that for you. Can you claim that there is a deficiency in service? There is no deficiency in service. Service is supposed to be completing the portion of this thing. Correct? But if you come for to me for the timetable, I'll make the timetable and give you. That is not the question. I'm telling you to explain this act. Is that okay? So have you understood about this? What is a consumer? This is the in this chapter most of the questions come from this part. Complainant and consumer. The main questions is always about deciding whether it is a consumer or not a consumer. That is the reason all these case laws are important. And they mostly give you some case, some description. One question they will give you like someone bought this tractor, and the Madri, the same case they will give you, and then they will tell you decide whether it is a consumer or not. Cite relevant case law. So you have to remember case laws also. Is that okay? All right. We'll take a break and then again we'll start off with this.